In this series, I will be discussing biblical interpretation. The topic of this video is context. Context is important to get the full meaning of what someone is saying. If you don't believe me, then let's see a couple clips starting with Jacqueline Glenn talking about her channel.
Hey y'all, so as you know, I really love Jesus. I'm super religious. I talk about Jesus Christ all the time.
You heard her. Jacqueline Glenn is super religious. Let's hear what Sam Harris wants his followers to do to people who won't let him rule over them.
Anyone who doesn't want me to reign over him, bring him before me and slay him before me.
Wow, that's kind of violent. Let's finally hear what Richard Dawkins has to say about the design of living things.
One of the main reasons people are religious is because they're persuaded by the design of living things.
Now, obviously, if you know these three people, you would know that none of them have seriously said any of these things. In fact, many of them have said the exact opposite. This demonstrates that by taking something out of context, you can make anyone say anything. The same is true for reading the Bible. So in order to safeguard our interpretation, we need to know how to read the Bible in context. There are three kinds of context that we need to worry about. They are the immediate context, the topical context, and the historical context. The immediate context refers to verses surrounding the passage we're interpreting, and also the book that contains the passage. For example, if we're interpreting John 3:16, then we should read everything surrounding that verse. This is easy in modern Bible translations because of the addition of headings. If we wanted more context, we could read all of John 3 or the entire book of John. Next is topical context, which looks at what the Bible says on a certain topic addressed in the passage we're interpreting. For example, if we were studying a passage on God's love, like 1 John chapter 4, we would want to look at other books of the Bible and what they say about God's love to get a fuller understanding of the topic. Most modern Bible translations will have cross-references that can point you in the right direction in this regard. Finally, there is the historical context, which deals with the details of history surrounding the passage and the book. You can learn about the historical context of a passage by looking at study Bibles, biblical commentaries, and Bible encyclopedias. The historical context is important because the authors of the Bible were writing within a specific time of history. Usually these times in history are different than our own, in historical events, culture, language, and many other factors. The historical context allows the interpreter to have a better understanding of the way in which the original author would have been understood. Let's recap. First, context is important when interpreting the Bible because without context you can make anyone say anything. And secondly, there are three kinds of context. Textual context, or the context within the book, topical context, or the context of the Bible overall, and last but not least, historical context, or the context of the time at which the book was written. And now let's end with some good advice from out-of-context Richard Dawkins.
If you actually read any book,
read the Bible